what really happened between JoJo Siwa and a British influencer nearly twice her age. Because according to JoJo's parents, he wasn't just a fan, he was stalking her, and she was still underage. Now the internet is split. Some say it's just a misunderstanding. Others believe there's something far darker going on behind the scenes. But the truth? That might be even more disturbing than anyone expected. And by the end of this video, you're going to have questions. Big ones. JoJo Siwa, a global icon known for her giant bows, energetic performances, and Disney Channel sparkle. But behind the glitter was a young girl growing up under a microscope and surrounded by adults who didn't always have her best interests at heart. Now enter Chris Hughes, a British influencer who made a name for himself on shows like Love Island and built a social media following by being the funny, flirty guy next door. On the surface, these two had nothing in common. Different continents, different careers, different generations. So how did their paths even cross? And why were JoJo's parents sounding the alarm? It started with whispers, then screenshots, then a direct accusation. Chris Hughes was stalking JoJo Siwa during a time when she was still a minor. According to JoJo's parents, the alleged behavior went beyond casual admiration. They say he repeatedly tried to contact her, showed up at events uninvited, and acted obsessed with the idea of getting close to her. Now, let's be clear, no legal charges have been filed. But when a parent uses the word stalker, the internet listens fast. And here's where things get even more unsettling. Most celebrity parents stay silent, not JoJo's. In fact, both her mother and father reportedly stepped in and publicly called out Hughes's behavior. Some fans say they were just being protective. Others say they were drawing attention to something that had been quietly happening for months. But was it a parental overreaction or a warning the public should have taken more seriously? Let us know in the comments. Do you think JoJo's parents were being cautious, or did they see something the rest of us missed? Once the allegations hit the internet, the reactions came fast and they were messy. On one side, fans defending JoJo, praising her parents, and even digging up old clips that some claim show Hughes acting inappropriately obsessed. On the other, fans saying the entire situation was blown out of proportion, that Hughes was just being a fan, and that there's no actual evidence of any dangerous behavior. But one thing everyone agrees on? The whole situation feels off. Especially when you realize what Chris said next.
But one thing everyone agrees on? The whole situation feels off. Especially when you realize what Chris said next. Despite the storm of controversy, Chris didn't offer a direct denial. Instead, he made cryptic posts, vague jokes, and liked tweets that seemed to mock the situation. Some saw it as damage control. Others say he was just fueling the fire. But fans quickly pointed out something else. If the situation was truly innocent, why not clear it up directly? And if JoJo's family is lying, why haven't they been sued for defamation? The silence is speaking volumes. Or is it just more social media games? This story might sound like celebrity gossip, but it's revealing something much deeper about fame, power, and the way adult influencers engage with child stars. JoJo has spent her life in the public eye. That spotlight comes with admirers and predators, and the lines between the two aren't always clear. Parents are sounding the alarm. Fans are arguing online. And influencers? They're watching closely, because what happens next could set a precedent. And honestly, it begs a serious question. Should more influencers be held accountable when the people they're chasing are still underage? Here's where things get really unsettling. Some users have started digging into Chris Hughes' past, and what they found isn't exactly comforting. There are old interviews, resurfaced clips, and even fan accounts suggesting this isn't the first time Hughes has shown persistent interest in younger celebrities. While nothing in these claims is confirmed, the pattern is enough to raise eyebrows. Is this just internet sleuthing gone wild? Or is the internet uncovering a disturbing behavioral trend that went unnoticed for years? If this turns out to be part of a pattern, what should happen next? This story might be centered on JoJo and Chris, but the real issue goes far beyond them. What happens when young stars like JoJo are thrust into an adult-dominated industry where boundaries constantly blur? Fame doesn't come with protection, and for many child stars, it's their own families who end up fighting battles no one else sees. This isn't just about one influencer crossing the line. It's about an entire ecosystem that often fails to protect young artists from the wrong kind of attention. So here's the question we all need to ask. How many other young celebrities are dealing with this behind closed doors? And how many are being ignored? Let's be honest. When you're a teen star, everyone wants something from you. Fame, access, influence. And in JoJo's case, that power imbalance is on full display. Chris Hughes was older, more experienced, and had access to adult platforms JoJo didn't. So even if nothing technically illegal happened, the dynamic itself raises red flags. A full-grown man pursuing any kind of private connection with a teenage girl, especially one in the spotlight, isn't just inappropriate, it's calculated. But here's where it gets tricky. What happens when that kind of behavior is normalized in the influencer world? One reason this story feels so unresolved is because it lives in a legal gray area. JoJo's parents made public accusations. Chris didn't respond legally. No police reports have surfaced, and yet the emotional damage is real, and the implications are serious. Influencers often escape consequences because they operate in a space where traditional rules don't always apply. It's not about what's technically criminal. It's about what crosses ethical lines and damages young people behind the scenes. So ask yourself, do influencers need new boundaries? Or are they already crossing ones that just aren't being enforced? Of course, this being the internet, things didn't stop at accusations. Fan theories exploded. Some claim there's more to the story involving JoJo's management team. Others speculate this wasn't the first incident, just the first to go public. A few even believe Chris might have had connections to other child stars. While most of this is unverified, the sheer volume of theories shows how suspicious the public has become. And when fans lose trust, reputations collapse fast. What do you think? Just noise? Or are people finally waking up to something deeper? Here's what no one's really saying. This situation could reshape how young celebrities are protected online. If JoJo's parents hadn't spoken up, would anyone have noticed? And how many other underage stars are currently being watched, contacted, or manipulated behind closed DMs without anyone speaking out? This story is a warning shot, a wake-up call to every parent, every fan, and every influencer who thinks fame makes them untouchable. Because now that the door's been opened, more stories might be next. So let's bring this full circle. JoJo's parents stepped in to expose behavior they believed crossed a serious line. The accused responded with silence and smirks. The internet speculated, investigated, and spiraled. And now, we're not just looking at one disturbing incident, we're questioning the entire system that made it possible. What do you think? Is this an isolated case, or the first of many stories waiting to break? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're watching everything unfold.